All right, Pat, I don't know if Vikings fans ever feel like they're completely safe and free from like a Packers comeback, but the Vikings are now 6 games clear in the loss column from the Green Bay Packers.
Yes,
so
and the Packer fans are calling for Jordan Love, and
I think Rodgers might be too.
While Twitter still exists, they're calling for Jordan Love on Twitter, and they were booing A-Rod, and I agree with them. They should watch tell A-Rod to take the rest, just show up for the games. You don't have to, you can show up on Fridays and we'll go through the game plan, but we're going to play the kid here the rest of the year and see if we got anything. They got to make up their mind and then I don't know how they get out from under his contract. I mean, the cap hit would be $50 million next year or something, but
yeah, it's bad.
It's he ain't interested, so they might as well move on, right? I mean, it's going to be quite the division here because you don't see the Vikings as being old, right? You don't see the Vikings as being old, and Cousins doesn't get hurt. He might have 3 more good years left, and there's nobody chasing you, right, anymore. It's like it's back in the days when Bud won it one year, I think, at 8-7-1. Won the division. That's when Tampa was still in it, when there was 4 dogs instead of 3. But I think it's you got 17 games now, but if you get to 10 any year with these clowns the next 4 years, you're going to win it, aren't you? Right?
Probably. Pat, do you want to hear from sad, depressed Packer fans from after that loss on Packer Vent Line? Should we do it?
Sure. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Go, Pack, go! I'm just wondering if it's time to pull the plug on Rodgers. The guy has not been a leader. The guy is talking about drugs on the radio. He's completely discommitted to this team. I just want to say, SKOR Vikings.
All right. Well, SKOR Vikings for sure. They're going to win the division.
I love it.
They've turned on Rodgers and the organization now, and they're just Vikings fans.
So from what I can tell of your Vent Line, we've always thought that crushing defeat was great for Vent Line, right? Really, I mean, it was great for Vent Line. But success of this magnitude is good for Vent Line too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Winning Sunday's game probably really juiced up Vent Line. Even though I agree with Suchere, when that game was over, no matter who won, you'd say that was a great game. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they didn't have to win it, but winning it, of course, doubled the celebration, to say the least.
Yeah. In fact, so the 3 most since we took Vent Line to YouTube exclusively 3 seasons ago, the 3 most listened to or watched episodes of all time, 2 of them are wins. One of them was the loss to Cooper Rush on Sunday night last year, the Cowboys. That was, for a while, that was the most consumed. And then the opening week 1 win over the Packers, because I think it was so shocking. Not only did they beat the Packers, they destroyed the Packers, and it just lit the optimism. And then the game against Buffalo shattered previous records. It was the most consumed Vent Line, and you're right. Either way, it would have been.
As it should have been. It was fantastic. It was great. But right now, are we still fearful of putting a ceiling on this team? I mean, are we like 15-2? Could we imagine 15-2 here with this?
Enjoy the ride, Pat. Enjoy the ride.
Can we say that? I mean, there's got to be a loss here you don't expect.
They're walking a tightrope every week. This is what I've been saying, is that this win doesn't make you're going to lose like 3 games or something. And
but if you're 3 more, I don't know if you're going to lose 3 more.
I mean, like probably 2 more. You might lose to the Cowboys this weekend. Vegas has you as an underdog.
Yeah, they might, but Cowboys are, who Cowboys lost to last week, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's very true.
You watched last night, they were a bunch of clowns. So
in such a fashion that people thought, oh, the Packers found it. Here it is. No, it's just the Cowboys being the Cowboys.
I got to make this admission, though. It's amazing how little NFL football I'm watching beyond watching the Vikings right now. There's very, if Kansas City's playing, I watch them, right? But I don't even watch Joe Burrow anymore because they're no good. And I usually watch if there's I'm not going to watch any game that has Justin Fields playing quarterback. I'm not going to watch any,
Red zone, Pat. Red zone.
Yeah,
Just go red zone. You don't
Joe,
have to watch any
I
game.
think we should recommend. I think the Miami Dolphins with Tua,
Yes.
Tyreek Hill. That's a fun
Yes.
watch.
Yeah, it is, and they're when you consider they haven't lost a game with Tua as quarterback, suddenly they're one of the I don't even know who the hell's coaching them.
Mike
McDaniel.
McDaniel. The guy that was the San
goofy
Francisco
guy
OC.
that completely
nerd.
screwed up the Viking game, right? But
Yep.
He'll go for it on 4th and 8 from his own 35 just because some analyst from Timbuktu told him it was a good idea. So, yeah, but
I didn't know they hired guys from there.
it's good. That I love. That quarterback was so good that he replaced Jalen Hurts after Jalen Hurts won a national championship. So he is. People were down on him last year, right? But he got hurt so often that's why they were down on him. But he's good.
And they were trying to acquire Deshaun Watson for like 10 months.
Yes,
and all of that was public while he's a young quarterback. It's tough.
Boy, did they Stefanski, who we wanted to be our young genius coach. Boy, did he walk into a mess over there with that crazy owner, right?
But you knew.
Why did they do
it.
that? Why did they do that? It's not like they were on the cusp here. Why did they go get Watson and give away half the franchise? I don't get it.
Going to work for the Browns, though, no matter how attractive a job is, the Browns are always going to be a mess. Jimmy Haslam he's not Daniel Snyder, but he's pretty damn bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's a loose cannon, to say the least. So I don't think he's as unpopular as Modell, who moved the franchise, but that was part of the fun of being down there a couple of times with the Browns when Modell was getting ready to move them. I had an opportunity a couple of times to see Art leaving the stadium as the fans commented on him. That was kind of vicious. They didn't like, and that was before he moved the franchise. They didn't like Art. So.
Yeah.
But the best, of course, was seeing William Ford walk into the elevator in Detroit. The grandson of the guy who built the city. Bill, you dumb bleeper, get fresh. I'm screaming at Bill Ford. It was great. I love football fans.
Who do you think? I think the Lions have half a chance here to actually finish second in the division.
Well, yeah, they've won 2 in a row, right? 2 in a row.
They've won 2 in a row. They're 3-6. They're tied with the Packers because the Packers have played 2 more games.
Well, they can look back and say, we could be 7-2. They screwed away so many games.
I know.
And now they gave us the tight end, which has had to weaken him to some degree. But but that guy's gonna, if he ends up having a halfway decent roster going into the next season, he'll get half of them hurt in training. He's never going to get him to the finish line the way he coaches with the not being healthy. I don't think, but. They love him on Detroit. I think they like him in Detroit because
maybe they could just keep him on as like a tight ends coach when they bring the next coach in.
He's the last. He's the throwback though, isn't he? He's the throwback crazy. We got to be tougher guy. He's kind of the hockey coach mentality type of guy. He's a beauty. But
who are like the 4 most grizzled coaches left? Belichick, Dan Campbell.
But Belichick, isn't he a different type of breed? I don't think he's a big butt chewer, do you? I suppose a one-on-one in a thing, but he'll just get rid of you. He just doesn't. I don't think there's a big scene made. You're just gone. Somebody comes down and tells you you're no longer here. You're making too much money.
Someone puts a white rose on your doorstep.
Yeah,
and you're good.
That's true. He's they got a shot though, right, to make the playoffs, don't they?
The Patriots are in right now. I think they are the 7 seed right now. Yes,
and they're really good defensively. They're not very good elsewhere. But hey, I have not. Me getting on the Vikings band. It's not easy for me to climb on any bandwagon, and me climbing on this one with the absolute kiss-ups that we have towards that team. It's very difficult for me, but I'm on after Sunday. This is
Do you find yourself?
Really
I know that you are often skeptical of sort of the new age coach speak that we hear all the time. Do you feel like Kevin O'Connell falls into the new age coach speak guy, or do you feel like he's more genuine?
a little bit, but he's not hard selling me on it. Don't you agree? He's kind
Totally.
of
He's not
kind of
PJ
soft.
flecking you. Yes.
He's a soft seller and not a hard seller. But it's also the pros. I don't know if the PJ hard sell blah 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 deal would work in the pros, but he's convinced them that this is fun, though. O'Connell, right? That this is fun. He's convinced them of that, and I don't think I don't like all the Zim bashing that takes place. I heard somebody say the Vikings would have the opposite record if Zim was coaching. I don't buy that, but it's a brutal, ugly, miserable game to play. It's the worst game in civilization to play, and to make guys look forward to it and think it's going to have a good time and have fun. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not over the top.
That's the key thing, right? The absolute key thing is to convince them that coming to work to play that sport is fun, especially practice, because football practice can suck. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing and plus after last year, I don't think it took a lot to sort of change that vibe to, okay, we're going to change some things here as well.
And here's the other thing. Judd, you've been to enough football practices, Phil, too, where they used to sit around for hours, right? I mean, there'd be guys doing stuff and then other guys just standing there. And it's kind of like baseball back in the day when they took batting practice on one field, and the batting practice would last 4 hours in spring training. The whole idea of, okay, let's do a good hour and a half is, I think, really helped athletes at every level, don't you?
And podcasters, quite frankly, radio hosts.
But soccer, I think we still have the train. We have to have 6 days of training before we. They call it training.
Yes.
6 days of training. But I think the whole idea of fast practices where people are doing something and can get the hell out of there. And I suppose it helps when you have 29 coaches, right? 29. If you add this
something like
guys,
that,
they got 29. If some guy's standing over there doing nothing, they can run a coach over and say, "Here, come on, let's go do this."
Yeah, it's like a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, we can keep everybody active. It's not like Mankato. You'd go down there and everybody'd sit around like this, man. That's been a great improvement, I think, for all athletes in general. You don't have those long grinding practices.
Last couple minutes here, because we know that you have a big uniform unveil to go and cover. Non-sarcastically, we are sure.
Let me say this, though. I don't think it's an indication that the Twins want to spend all their money on uniforms and scoreboards. Okay, I think it's just what teams do. But the thing to make a satire out of it isn't the changing of the uniforms. It's making a big production out of the changing of the uniforms, right? I don't care if they change their uniforms, as long as they don't go back to those damn powder blues that I had to watch my whole sports writing career, which I hated those things.
So jaded towards such a good look.
Huh?
See, I being born later, I kind of like those uniforms.
I like those powder blues.
God, I hated them. I thought they were terrible. But I'm not a big uniform guy. But I suppose I just wonder what the people are going to be saying out there. So.
I did. By the way, if you guys want here, it's not Reckless Speculation Thursday anymore, but it is the season of Reckless Speculation here.
Reckless Speculation.
I'm gonna float this. It's a DM that someone sent me last night. It's Vikings fan. Okay, so it's kind of an anonymous Twitter account, and he DMs me and says, a guy. I don't know how specific I should be here, but a guy that he knows works inside the building.
Okay.
With the Twins, okay? And they are making a major financial push behind the scenes to bring Carlos Correa in, according to my third-hand anonymous Twitter DM.
And there's been Doogie's been saying that too, right? But of course, if they don't win, the sweepstakes for him, then that'll backfire on him. Oh yeah, they're always telling you who they didn't sign and stuff.
Yes.
I wonder if Carlos says, "I'll come back if you move the right field fence in 15 feet and lower that wall." I don't think we want to do that, do we, Carlos? So
What he really wants is a new scoreboard. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
He said, if you get a new scoreboard, I might come back. They said, okay, we'll build a huge one.
And those road uniforms, wasn't feeling them. So if we could just change those up, it'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think they probably are, but what are the odds he wants this market? Probably a lot of it depends on mama and the kids, right?
Yeah. I don't doubt. I don't think he's lying when he said that he enjoyed his time and the clubhouse. Apparently, the clubhouse vibe was great with him and stuff. I don't doubt that. But when four other teams are making offers,
Yes, and there's they supposedly they're talking to Danby too, and Danby might be half the price, right? So
There's a lot of shortstops there. There's 4.
Yeah, there's four primos.
Hey, Patrick, did you see Byron Buxton going back and forth with people on Twitter yesterday?
Oh, they were ripping him about never playing, or what?
Yeah, so the Twins put out something like a picture of Buxton. I don't think they tagged him. They just put his name. He must search his name, and people were like, "I just want him to play," and so he started going back after him.
Byron. It's a fact. You don't play. What do you want to be mad at people?
I know, but it was
his wife does that too.
Yeah.
Which just you guys.
She must have found it.
Yeah. What are we going to do without Twitter, by the way, if it folds?
I'm done.
It's not folding.
I'm done.
My only social media outlet.
I'm with you.
Do we really think now it'll probably go down for a while because he's like literally no one's running the ship? But do we really think a guy spent $40 billion to just flush it a month later? There's no way. He's on Twitter himself tweeting sarcastic memes.
But he can just bankrupt Twitter and it doesn't affect his other, that company. He can bankrupt one.
Someone buy it though.
And keep the other ones going,
I gotta think
the banks won't like him. The banks won't like him too well though if he walks away from $42 billion.
If Twitter goes down, I'm going to get in bed, cry, and wake up when it comes back. That's it.
Okay. Well,
I got nothing for you.
You got TikTok. You can go TikToking. I don't know how to.
Yeah, but the TikTok's the young Judd, Pat. Twitter's
Twitter,
the essence of Judd.
Twitter has kept me young, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm old, but Twitter is when I tweet, I'm half my age, right? And then when I do everything else in life, I'm 77-year-old decrepit guy with bad knees.
And you're great at Twitter. It was made for you.
Yes, it was. But as I always said, I'm glad it didn't exist when I was drinking.
Oh God, you would have been fired.
I would have been fired. I would have been Tom Powers before Tom Powers.
Oh no,
it probably would have been worse.
I love how Tom just decided after a drunk Twitter rant one night, I think I'm just going to call it a career.
I'm disappearing from the face of the earth.
Yep. The most impressive thing, Pat, is you would have been fired in the 70s for tweeting. So imagine what you would have had to say in 1975 to get fired.
Yeah, there was not a big Me Too movement back then.
No, there wasn't.
God.
I got to run. I got to get out there, man. The excitement is building.
Yes, it is.
Say hi to Buxton.
Vikings by 10. Vikings by 10.
Woo! Okay, look at this guy.
I'm getting nervous. All right,
amazing. All right, that's wrapping with Royce here. Love that guy.